You've said us some really interesting stuff, actually, about protecting a business, its name, its brand, and its reputation.
Hmm.
And so we're taking a deep dive into excerpts from this guide. It's called Protecting Your Business Name, Brand, and Reputation, an overview.
Okay.
Sounds like you're trying to figure out how these pieces all fit together
Right.
and what practical steps you can take to safeguard your business.
Yeah, that's a great goal. And this guide really does a good job, I think, of laying out all the fundamentals.
Right.
What I find really fascinating is how interconnected these elements really are.
Oh, okay.
A memorable name that's going to help people remember your brand.
Yeah.
A strong brand is going to help you build a good reputation, and then a good reputation makes your name even more valuable.
Yeah.
So it's this cycle.
Yeah, so the guide clearly defines these three elements,
Hmm.
but I think it would be good to make it a little more real.
Yeah.
So for you, what jumps out at you when you think about a business that's really nailed this trifecta?
Wow.
Name, brand, reputation.
Yeah, well, how about Patagonia?
Okay.
Patagonia, I think, is a great example. Their name is unique. It evokes this sense of adventure. Their brand is all about sustainability, high-quality outdoor gear, and they've built this great reputation for ethical practices, environmental activism.
Right.
All of those pieces work together to create a powerful image in the minds of consumers.
Yeah.
That translates into things like loyalty, premium prices, and the ability for them to weather challenges that might sink a less well-protected business.
Right, it gives them a little bit more leverage,
Absolutely.
especially in difficult times.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guide really emphasizes how essential this is, especially for small businesses.
Hmm.
Why do you think that is?
Well, because think about it, big companies.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got huge marketing budgets and legal teams to protect them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Small businesses don't have that luxury.
Right.
So even a single instance of name confusion or a hit to their reputation can be devastating.
Yep.
They just don't have the resources to bounce back from that as easily.
So it's about playing it smart from the beginning.
Yeah.
The guide starts by talking about registering your business name,
Right.
which seems pretty basic.
Yeah.
Is that really all there is to it?
Well, registering your business name is important, but it's really just the first step. Think bigger, think trademarks.
Okay.
Okay. So, say you start this local bakery called Sunshine Bakes.
Yeah.
Registering that business name locally, that will prevent another bakery in your town from using the same name.
Got it.
But what if you want to start selling your amazing cookies online and someone in another state starts Sunshine Bakery?
Ah, I see.
See, that's where a federally registered trademark comes in.
Okay.
That gives you the exclusive right to use that name, but for specific goods or services across the entire U.S.
Okay.
So it's about protecting your future growth, too.
So trademarks are really about securing that business name long term.
Absolutely.
But what about online? I know the guide mentions domain names. How does that fit into the picture?
Well, think of your domain name as your virtual storefront.
Okay.
It's how customers are going to find you online.
Right.
So securing that .com version that matches your business name is crucial. But, and this is important, don't stop there.
Okay.
Think about common misspellings, variations of your name that someone else could snatch up,
Oh.
and then use that to siphon off your customers, or, even worse, create a fake site to scam people using your good name.
Oh, wow.
We can register those variations to prevent that from happening.
That's a good point. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
So you've got the name and your domain all locked down. The guide then dives into visual identity.
Right.
Logos, colors, fonts. It's way more strategic than I ever realized.
Yeah.
What's the big deal with all that?
Well, think about those iconic brands that we talked about earlier. The Nike swoosh,
Mm-hmm.
the Apple logo,
Yeah.
the Coca-Cola script. You see those and you instantly know who they are and what they stand for.
Yeah.
It's not an accident. That's branding genius.
Yeah.
It's about creating a consistent experience for your customers everywhere they encounter your business. Online, in stores, on packaging, social media.
Right.
This visual consistency builds trust and recognition. So customers know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what builds loyalty.
So how do you protect all of that? I know the guide mentioned copyright, but I always thought that was mostly for books and movies,
Yeah.
not for businesses.
No, copyright is a powerful tool for businesses too. It protects the specific creative expression of your brand.
Okay.
So that's your website, content, marketing materials, your product photos, even that catchy jingle that you came up with.
Right.
Registering your copyright with the U.S. Copyright Office, it's like having a public record of your ownership. It gives you legal recourse if someone tries to rip off your hard work.
Yeah, it's like proof.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So you've got your name, your domain, your visual identity, all legally protected. What comes next?
Well, this is where the guide gets into something that's a little bit harder to quantify, but just as important. Building a rock-solid reputation. It starts with quality, of course. If
Yeah.
you're not delivering excellent products or services, nothing else matters. But it goes beyond that.
The guide talks about delivering excellent customer service,
Uh-huh.
which seems kind of obvious. Is there more to it than that?
Well, customer service is huge, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the guide goes a step further.
Okay.
It talks about ethical business conduct.
Okay.
And that's something that really resonates with me.
Okay, so break that down for me.
Okay.
What does ethical business conduct look like in practice?
Sure.
And why does it matter so much for a business's reputation?
It's about walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Okay.
It's about making decisions that align with your values, even when it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
Being transparent with your customers.
Yeah.
Treating your employees fairly.
Right.
Sourcing your materials responsibly. These things matter more than ever. In a world where consumers are increasingly conscious of a company's values.
Right.
They want to support businesses that are doing good in the world.
I see what you mean. It's about authenticity.
Exactly.
People can spot a fake from a mile away.
Yeah, for sure.
The guide also talks about community involvement,
Uh-huh.
things like sponsoring local events or partnering with nonprofits.
Right.
How does that play into reputation?
Well, think about it this way. A business doesn't exist in a vacuum, right?
Right.
It's part of a community.
Yeah.
So getting involved shows that you're not just there to make a profit.
Yeah.
You care about the people around you.
Mm-hmm.
It builds goodwill and strengthens your ties to the community.
Yeah.
But I agree with you, it has to be genuine.
Right.
People can tell if you're just going through the motions.
Yeah, exactly. So we've talked about building a solid foundation for your reputation offline.
Mm-hmm.
But what about the online world?
Right.
Things move so fast online, and the guide talks about monitoring mentions and reviews. That seems like a full-time job in itself.
It can feel overwhelming, especially for a small business owner who's already wearing a million hats.
Right.
But it's crucial to know what people are saying about you online.
Yeah.
Think of it as listening to your customers, both the good and the bad.
Okay.
It's an opportunity to address concerns,
Yeah.
to build relationships, and to get valuable feedback.
So what's the best way to handle all of that?
Well,
The guide mentions some tools, but I'm curious about strategy.
yeah.
What's the right way to respond to feedback,
Sure.
especially when it's negative?
It's tempting to get defensive when you see a negative review,
Oh, yeah.
but that's the worst thing you can do.
Okay.
Responding promptly and professionally is key.
Gotcha.
Acknowledge the person's concerns, apologize if appropriate,
Mm-hmm.
and offer a solution,
Even if you think the review is unfair.
especially then.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Remember, other potential customers are reading those reviews too. They're not just seeing what that one person said.
Mm-hmm.
They're seeing how you handle the situation.
It's about the bigger picture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A calm, professional response can go a long way toward mitigating the damage.
Yeah.
On the flip side, when you get positive reviews, don't just ignore them.
Right.
Thank people for taking the time to share their experience.
Mm-hmm.
It shows you care.
The guide also mentions something called a crisis communication plan.
Right.
That sounds pretty intense.
Yeah.
What exactly does that entail, and when does it come into play?
Hopefully you'll never need it.
Okay.
But just like you have insurance for unexpected events,
Right.
a crisis communication plan is about being prepared for the worst case scenario.
Okay, so, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
What happens if there's a product recall or a negative news story?
Right. Or a social media firestorm.
Okay. I'm starting to sweat a little just thinking about it.
Don't panic.
Okay.
It's about having a plan in place so you can respond quickly and effectively if something goes wrong. It includes things like designated spokespersons,
Okay.
pre-approved messaging templates, and a clear process for handling different types of crises.
So it's not just about putting out fires, it's about having the right fire extinguishers ready to go.
Exactly. And remember, recovery after a crisis is just as important as the initial response.
Okay.
It's about learning from the experience, rebuilding trust, and coming back stronger.
This all makes sense, but it sounds like a lot for a small business to handle.
Yeah.
The guide mentions seeking help from professionals, lawyers, PR firms, that sort of thing.
Right.
When would you recommend bringing in the big guns?
It really depends on your business and its specific needs.
Oh.
A lawyer specializing in intellectual property is essential if you're dealing with trademarks and copyrights.
Gotcha.
And a good business attorney can advise you on contracts, legal compliance, anything that could impact your reputation.
So you're saying it's not about having a whole team of lawyers on retainer from day one,
Right.
but it is smart to have those resources lined up in case you need them.
Exactly. And don't forget about public relations professionals.
Okay.
They're experts at shaping your public image and handling crisis communications.
Right.
If you find yourself in a situation where you need help navigating the media or managing a reputational issue, they can be invaluable.
The guide stresses that protecting your business is an ongoing effort.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a set it and forget it kind of thing.
Right.
What does that look like in practice?
It means staying informed about industry trends,
Okay.
keeping an eye on your competitors,
Mm-hmm.
and regularly checking in on your own brand to see if it's still aligned with your values and goals.
So it's about constantly evolving and adapting.
Absolutely.
The guide mentions these brand audits.
Yeah.
What are those and why are they important?
Think of a brand audit like a health checkup for your business identity.
Okay.
It's a chance to step back and assess how your brand is perceived in the marketplace.
Okay.
Are you still resonating with your target audience?
Right.
Is your messaging consistent across all platforms?
Mhm.
Are there any areas where you need to make adjustments?
That makes a lot of sense. Like maybe your logo that seemed so cool 5 years ago suddenly feels outdated,
Exactly.
or the language you're using doesn't connect with your customers anymore.
Exactly. A brand audit can help you catch those things before they become bigger problems.
Yeah.
And don't underestimate the importance of your team.
Right.
Every employee, from customer service reps to social media managers, is representing your brand.
Yeah.
Investing in training on brand representation can pay off big time.
Okay. I'm getting the sense that this is about way more than just legalities.
Mm-hmm.
It's about building a strong brand, connecting with your community, and being proactive about managing your reputation online and offline.
It's about creating a business that's not just successful, but also sustainable and resilient.
Yeah.
A business that can weather the storms and come out even stronger.
That's inspiring. Before we wrap things up, I want to touch on something that's been on my mind throughout this deep dive. We've talked a lot about the practical steps involved in protecting a business.
Right.
But what about the motivation behind it all?
Yeah.
What drives business owners to be so diligent about this stuff?
That's a great question. And I think it gets to the heart of what it means to be an entrepreneur. For a lot of business owners, it's about more than just making a profit. It's about building something that they're truly proud of.
Right?
Something that reflects their values and makes a positive impact on the world.
It's like creating a legacy.
Right.
Something that goes beyond just the bottom line.
Absolutely. When you protect your business name, you're protecting its identity. When you safeguard your brand, you're ensuring the integrity of your promise to the world. And when you manage your reputation, you're nurturing the relationships that are essential for growth. It's about building something that lasts.
That's a powerful way to think about it. I imagine a lot of people, especially those just starting out, might feel a little overwhelmed by all of this. What advice would you give to someone who's feeling intimidated by the prospect of protecting their business?
I get it. It's a lot to take in. My advice would be to start with the basics. Focus on building a solid foundation. Get your business name and domain registered. Start thinking about your brand identity and how you want to be perceived in the marketplace. Take those small steps to lay the groundwork.
So it's about progress, not perfection. You don't have to do everything at once.
Exactly. It's a marathon, not a sprint. As your business grows, you can gradually add layers of protection. And remember, you don't have to go it alone. There are so many resources available to help.
We talked about legal experts and PR professionals, but what about those brand protection software systems? Those seem like they could be game changers for small business owners who don't have a lot of time to spend monitoring everything online.
Those tools can be incredibly helpful. They can monitor trademarks, watch for counterfeit products being sold online, and even alert you if someone tries to register a domain name that's suspiciously similar to yours. It's like having a digital watchdog looking out for your business 24/7.
That peace of mind alone would be worth it. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today. Any final words of wisdom for our listener as they embark on their journey to protect their business?
The most important thing is to be proactive. Don't wait until there's a problem to start thinking about protecting your business. Take those small steps today to build a strong foundation. Stay informed, stay curious, and never stop learning. The world of business is constantly changing, so be ready to adapt and evolve along with it.
That's great advice. And I'll add one more thing. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. There are experts out there who can guide you through the process and provide support along the way.
Couldn't agree more.
This deep dive has been so insightful. It's given me a whole new perspective on what it means to build a truly resilient business. And I hope it's done the same for you, listener. Remember, we only scratched the surface here. The full guide has even more details and resources, so definitely check that out if you want to go deeper. Until next time, happy protecting.